The Chicago Cubs go back to dominance against the Miami Marlins. And I'm going to overreact to some things with Kyle Tucker. And you may agree, you may not. You may notice them, you may not. But we got to talk about it right after the intro. Welcome in to your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. It is Chicago Cubs Central. I am your host, Mike Jones. Appreciate each and every last one of you that are tuning in. Hey, listen, if this is your first time watching, hi, welcome. If you have never seen an episode of Chicago Cubs Central before, this is the place for the voice of the Chicago Cub fan, where your voice can be heard, whether that be in the comments section or whether that be leaving a voicemail or even writing an email. You can leave a voicemail at 217-816-5498, or you can write me at cubsbaseball1992 at gmail.com. We want to hear from you. Remember, this is the official voice of the Chicago Cub fan. I cannot tell you guys how much I appreciate each and every last one of you that tune into these episodes, that rate them, that talk about them, whether that be on Spotify, whether that be on Apple, whether that be on X, or whether that be on YouTube. Wherever you are, I appreciate you, and I consider you family. You know, we call a family around here, we call you the C3 family. That's right, Chicago Cubs Central fam. And I appreciate each and every last one of you guys that tune into this episode. If you want to be a part of the Chicago Cubs Central family, all you got to do is hit that subscribe button or hit that notify button, whether that's on Apple or Spotify, and hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on X, hit that follow button. Join the C3 family. Enjoy great content every day of the week. We do not skip a day over here. We make sure to bring you constant content, constant updates, constantly letting you know what's going on with the Chicago Cubs. Chicago Cubs did revert back to their old ways in a good way this time, going up against the Miami Marlins. The Chicago Cubs did improve to 29-20 on the season, nabbing a 2-game lead over the St. Louis Cardinals in the division. The Chicago Cubs beat the Miami Marlins, who fell to 19-28. They beat them 14-1. Jameson Taillon did have 7 strong innings. Only gave up 1 home run. That home run was the Fortes. He homered to center field, but Jameson Taillon went 7 innings, allowed 4 hits, 1 earned run, 3 base on balls, 2 strikeouts on 87 pitches, 57 of those being strikes. His ERA dropped down to 4.13. Like I said, I'm sorry. Yeah, his ERA dropped down to 4.13. So Jameson Taillon is figuring it out. This is the exact type of work and output we needed from Jameson Taillon. One thing Craig Counsell talked about in the pregame was that they are thin. We are thin in the bullpen. Guys are injured, and we got guys that we thought would be bullpen pieces having to pitch starter innings because guys are injured. So we have to figure out what we're going to do. And, for Jameson Taillon, a lot could be said about how he's given up the home run ball this season, how he struggled to keep the ball in the park. But he did end up giving up 1 more home run tonight. But for him to come out and only give up that 1 home run, be able to recalibrate, find the strike zone, and lead the Chicago Cubs to victory after a disappointing loss the night before, I think it speaks volumes to the pressure J-Mo puts on himself and the expectations he has for himself as a leader on this team and as a pitcher. And, I mean, like I said, the rest of the guys followed suit. I love the way Jameson Taillon attacked the strike zone tonight. I loved how he was, going after guys. And, it always makes it better after your team puts up a big crooked number in the half inning before you go out to pitch. And then you're able to come behind that and you're able to go after guys. You're able to go after batters. You don't have to, play on the defense, but you can literally attack that strike zone and force them into bad hits. I mean, he got a lot of easy outs, a lot of flyouts in this game. But the Miami Marlins ballpark is a huge ballpark. So there are no cheap home runs there. There are no cheap home runs. So, balls that might have been, home runs in other parks, Kyle Tucker, I'm sorry, Kyle Tucker was the DH tonight. Seiya Suzuki and Piker Armstrong and a returning Ian Happ were able to nab those balls and, like I said, and be able to keep them in the park outside of that one home run ball. So yeah, Jameson Taillon has some strong innings. Only two strikeouts, but again, like I said, it's a pitcher's park. It's not a hitter friendly park. The Marlins Park is. So again, like I said, it's one of those things where you can afford to leave some pitches up in the zone because they're probably going to pop up and fly out versus them being put in the bleachers and being home run balls. So the Cubs, on the other hand, did get a couple of home runs. They got home runs from Seiya Suzuki, who now has his 11th home run. I'm sorry, his 12th home run, and then Kyle Tucker got his 11th home run in this game. So, like I said, Seiya, Tucker, Dansby Swanson, and Pete Crow Armstrong are leading the team in home runs now right now, with Pete Crow having 12 home runs on the season. So yeah, the Chicago Cubs, man, this game, their run differential is the highest in the MLB versus teams. They are just seeing success all across the plate. Their offense, this is an offense like we've never seen before from the Chicago Cubs. And you will win a lot of ball games having offense like this. I don't want to jinx the guys. I don't want to compare them to other people, but to me, they feel a lot like what Atlanta has been the last 5 years. I'm talking about Dansby and Freddie Freeman, like, but before Marcell Ozuna came, and like I said, and Albies, and all of those guys like that. Like I said, so I mean, they just seem to get it, and they pour on the runs when they get you down, and their plate patience has paid off in dividends. And like I said, for me, I just feel like they have a huge success rate going, just like I said, with this offense. It was great to see Kyle Tucker have a great game today, 3 for 4, 2 runs, 1 home run, 1 RBI. Improved his batting average to 2.268 on the season. Like I said, just coming in and just contributing, not trying to do too much. There was a couple ones he just shot the ball right down the middle and got the base hit. Like I said, you don't have to, go crazy and do a whole bunch. Like I said, and everything doesn't have to be a home run. You could settle for a double, you could do a triple, we'll take even a single. You did get a couple singles in this game, but like I said, just being able to contribute to the team any way that the team sees fit. Again, a couple hard hit balls in yesterday's game, so you knew like he's starting to find himself again. He's starting to figure himself out, and he's starting to come out of that May slump that he has been in for the last couple of years, even back when he was with the Astros. But one thing I did notice about Kyle Tucker, and this is point number 2 for today's episode that I wanted to talk to you guys about. I don't know if Kyle Tucker is just like one of those dudes that just has like a cool demeanor and like he just doesn't like show emotion. But to me, I don't know. I don't feel like Kyle Tucker looks happy on the Chicago Cubs. And, I look at his body language. I look at how he plays the game. I look at, how he, runs the bases, how he defends in the outfield. I mean, you know, all of that stuff again. And I don't know. He just doesn't look happy. Like I see him smile, when he scored his runs tonight, when he hit his home runs, they show him walking through the dugout and he's, high-fiving everybody and everything like that. He has a little half-cracked smile, and he's, tapping guys and stuff like that. But like I said, it just, I don't know. The rest of the team does the raise the roof, when they hit a home run, and the rest of the guys are in the dugouts doing the raise the roof too. Kyle Tucker doesn't do that when he hits his home runs. He does this, when he gets a base hit, and then he wears the thumbs up and stuff like that, but he's not raised the roof. And, I don't know. I could totally be overreacting. I could totally be, you know, totally be like just over exaggerating things, overthinking things. But to me, it just kind of seems like, kind of seems like he knows he's only here for a year. I don't know. I don't know how else to put that. I don't know how else to say that, man. But that's just kind of what I feel. His body language to me, like, just doesn't seem like he's excited to be a Chicago Cub. I mean, and again, I hope and pray sincerely that I am wrong on this, but it's really just what I see. I'm just reporting what I see and what I feel. Like I said, I watched him in person on Saturday, and I watch every single game. I've not missed a single Cubs game this season. So, like I said, so I mean, I'm there, and I don't know, his body language and whatnot just doesn't read or doesn't give off like I'm happy to be here, not like what he said in the offseason, and again, it could just be his demeanor. He could just be a cool, laid back dude. He could just be a smooth operator. But I don't know. The rest of the guys I feel like show emotion. Even Seiya Suzuki shows emotion. Dansby shows emotion. Nico shows emotion. Ian Happ loves being a Cub. Shohei Imanaga loves being a Cub. Justin Steele, they all love being Cubs. I just question, does Kyle Tucker actually love being a Cub? You guys let me know in the comments. Am I tripping? Just talk to me in the comments. Talk me off the ledge. Am I tripping? Am I reading too far into things? Do you guys think that Kyle Tucker really wants to be a Chicago Cub? Does he look happy playing here? Let me know in the comments, guys. But that's all I got for you today. The Chicago Cubs once again face the Miami Marlins on a getaway day, 12:10 start time. It will be Cade Horton, who is 2-0 with a 6.00 ERA, going up against Max Meyer, who is 3-4 with a 4.447 ERA. Like I said, Chicago Cubs going to try to get another win and another series win on the season. Hopefully they can find a way to do so and get to 30 wins, be 10 wins above 500 for the first time this season. And yeah, man, just keep piling on. Win these games you're supposed to win. Take a day off Thursday and then show up to Cincinnati on Friday and do it all over again, man. This is what the season is about. It's about the expectation of winning. I think the Cubs do have an expectation that they should win some games and that they should beat some teams that they're better than. And I don't think they're going to let up. Hopefully Ian Happ finds his way in that Cincinnati series and that gets him back to feeling like the old Ian Happ. But outside of that, man, comment below, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think Kyle Tucker is excited to be a Chicago Cub? Let me know your thoughts on that. And yeah, man, we'll be back at it again tomorrow. I appreciate each and every last one of you that have watched. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Leave me a comment or make sure, or you can leave me a voicemail at 217-816-5498, or you can write me at cubsbaseball1992@gmail.com. Remember, this is Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. Until next time, I appreciate you guys. I'm Mike Jones. Peace.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the number one spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.